All right, so we are live. What's going on, TentHut? Good evening. It is Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Just remember, we always do this every Thursday. I know it's been crazy with this whole election thing. I've been watching it, and I know Will been watching it. And we have Jose. He's in his honeymoon, and he's watching it from wherever he's at. But
Yeah.
it's crazy, man. I mean, what are your thoughts on this, man? Like, what's going on here? I I'm gonna tell you,
Man,
man. I don't like politics. I don't like
we
politics.
gotta let them count. It's so difficult to sit there and say, well, this is what we gotta do when it's the process, and you gotta understand also COVID's not helping. The whole situation. Um, it's
Yeah,
just a lot of things going on that need to be resolved, and that it's just gonna take a little while. But
yeah, it is gonna take a while. So you know what? I'm gonna drink to that though. So
yeah, cheers,
this is
cheers.
Ten Hut Show with a shot of whiskey. I just from some of you guys just know whiskey helps. Just remember that. Whiskey helps.
I like that shirt, man.
Yeah, man.
I need to get a matching one.
Yeah. I think these guys. What's the company called? Grunt Style.
Grunt style.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Grunt Style. They're the ones I
Well, they
saw
got
that.
some issues going on with Grunt style, man, because I guess they booted out the CEO or something. I don't know the full story. You might
Well,
know.
so I follow. I don't. I forgot his name. He was on LinkedIn. So
Hmm.
um, I remember waking up that one morning and he said something about like he's going homeless or something like that.
Yeah,
And I was like, wow, what's going on here?
yeah.
But I guess he resolved it because I guess they kicked him out, and I guess they didn't want to give him his shares.
Yeah.
Something within that. So yeah, it got
Sounds
crazy,
like
dude.
some Steve Jobs stuff going on over there at Grunt style.
Yeah, pretty much, man. It's just crazy. But talking
Yeah.
about crazy, I know last time we had when you came along onto the show, we talked about the VA stuff, and then we left it off with the whole education thing. So let's get on that. So I know you mentioned education, but what do you mean by education? Not post 9/11 education,
There's so many ways that we could go about talking about education. Um, but big thing is, what is the process? How do you do it? I'm a veteran and I want to go to school, right? Um, from my experience with a lot of veterans and my personal experience, um, there's many issues that are causing problems, and I think the biggest issue is that veterans get out and they have no idea what they're even trying to accomplish or what schools they're trying to go to.
right?
Um, or what type of school, what are they, and it goes back to what I spoke about last time. When a service member exits the service, they have they're pretty lost, as far as what the next steps are. uh, and it goes with everything, right? So you have did I lose you?
No, 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 I'm here. I'm just
Okay.
spotlighting you.
So I'm like, where did he go? um,
Yeah, I fell asleep
So
at
you,
night.
so you have a lot of veterans that are trying to figure out what they're gonna do, right? You come into the service, and let's just start from the beginning. Most service members enter service at the age between 17 and 21 is the average age, or that you're see that you commonly see. Of course, there's also the students or recruits that come into the military at old, a lot older, a lot more experience. But for the most part, you're talking about a high school student. Now, talking about education before the military, a lot of the big issue is that you have the schools that aren't teaching you budgeting. They don't teach you how to do your taxes. They don't teach you how
Yeah,
to purchase medical insurance. What is a PPO? What is a HMO? What is having private insurance? Going with the government issued insurance. Then talking about the VA, that's a different type of medical insurance.
Right.
that covers a specific portion of whatever you have. But what if you don't have those benefits? You don't have medical disabilities coming out of service, right? So that all ties into, post military. Individuals get out and they're like, oh, I'm going to make all this money
Right.
based on the experience that I gained in the military. Um, Unfortunately, companies don't see it that way. They see you as a person that knows war or knows military stuff. They don't see you as a person that has leadership with dealing with individuals that uh, have emotions. If it's
Right.
one of the big ones, right? Uh, if you think about emotional intelligence, and me and you that been out for a while and been dealing with people, diplomacy is probably the first thing that we had to really fast grasp because
Right. Yeah.
we're used to the direct supervision or direct leadership style where I'm telling you you need to go do this. There's no questions asked. You just go do what you're being told to do, unless of course you find that it's unethical or violating some policy. Then at that point you would speak up. But other than that, you go and do.
Right.
Um, and we're trained that way. So now you get out and you're saying, well, I have leadership skill because I supervised uh, 10 subordinates or whatever. So you're talking about a pretty large team, or you were an E70, 89, right? Senior leadership,
Hmm.
and or O6 through O10, um, and you think that you can tell people you need to go do this because that just doesn't work when
Right.
you get out, right?
Yeah, of course. And I thought the same way too. Like, all right, I just got to tell people what to do. And not only that, I took a different approach. I kind of use a lot of the empathize, because I realized that people get to tend to do more for you when you empathize or at least be in the same level with them, instead of just doing a hardcore. I don't know, I'm gonna add myself in this again, but doing a hardcore like just knife handing and and just getting people to just say, listen to me just because I have the rank, you know. But unfortunately, many service member has been taught that way, where they're carrying the same mindset into the civilian world.
So I want you to reflect on that, right?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to understand that, what you were doing?
Uh,
From the time you exit service, about approximately how much time do you think that when you saw it and then you started working on that?
I honestly, so I immediately, as soon as I came out, went straight to college. I want to say 2.5 years, man. To
About
start,
two and a
start. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So 2.5 years. Well, if you're not going to school, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
you're leveraging on your military background. 2.5 years is a while to not be going to school,
Mm-hmm.
or not being making ends meet. If we start talking about money, right?
Right.
If you're making minimum wage,
Yeah.
uh, you're looking at a paycheck at about 200 something bucks, right? Say you get hired with no degree, no education at all,
Mm-hmm.
into a job that really ties into what you're doing, like aircraft maintenance, and you in the Air Force, they really push for you to get your uh, AA degree,
Yeah.
right, through Air University. Uh, and in the Army, I think you have something similar to that. I'm not I'm not really sure how that works for y'all, but I know you get college credit just like the Air Force
Yeah.
for your job, right? So say you get out and you're an aircraft mechanic in the Air Force, a crew chief, or a structures guy, or you name it, right? You do something that's a trade, you still need to have that certificate, right? So you go and get your AMP, or you go get whatever certificate, right? That's not that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're making about $20 an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
$20 an hour does not equate to E5 pay.
Yeah.
It does not. E5 pay, a lot of people say, well, we get paid, you know, 36,000, but you're not thinking about all the allowances you get. So you get BAH, right? BAH is non-taxable, so you just
Right.
get that money up front. You get BAS, non-taxable, right? Basic allowance. Anything that says allowance at the end of it uh, is non-taxable. We know that, right? So,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, you're not worried about your family and yourself having medical insurance.
Hmm.
Medical insurance for a family of four, you're talking about $200 to $300 a month. So now there goes a quarter of your paycheck at $20 an hour. So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, for you to make E5 pay, for it to equate what you would make as an E5 in the military, you really have to be making around $25-$30 an hour.
Right. Yeah.
Depending where you live, of course, in the United States, you really got to be making some money. So what can we do? We can go to school. One thing that I found out, and I found out the hard way, we usually get 36 months of GI Bill,
Hmm.
or you can do voc rehab for 48 months,
Okay.
right? So here's the difference, and this is where I have to really nail down what I'm gonna say, and it might piss off some people, but you have 48 months of education services, period, according to the manual for Veterans Benefits Administration. We talked about that last time, where the difference, Veterans Health Administration is the hospital, Veterans
Right.
Benefits Administration is the benefits, and
Right.
there's two departments that deal with education, and it's both. Okay, so it's VR and E, and they just changed from rehab to. You know what? I'm gonna have to come back on what they changed it to, but it's still VR and E. It used to be vocational rehab and employment, but they
Right.
changed the R to something else.
Okay.
Uh, and then you have your GI Bill, right? Montgomery's still available, but most people, of course, opt out and go for the GI the post 9/11 GI Bill, right?
Hmm.
So post 9/11, here I'll just break down post 9/11. It's really simple. You go to school, whatever you want to go, trade school, or you want to go get a degree. You have 36 months of GI Bill. All right.
Hmm.
The GI Bill is going to pay you whatever the allowance is for an E5, equivalent to an E5 for BAH, for 36 months. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, if what you want to do, where you're going to do it, or it doesn't matter. The GI Bill doesn't really care about what you're going to be using it for. What they do care about, though, is if you pass or fail. So if you
Yeah.
fail a class, they won't pay for that class again. Now, as an instructor, this is where I get really irritated with fellow veterans, is that I see veterans that'll go to class
Hmm.
and you know not show up to class, or they show up just the bare minimum for me to not drop them, and they're collecting here in Los Angeles is $3,056 or $36. I don't remember what it went up to this year,
Hmm.
uh, that you would get for BAH. That's a lot of money, you know.
Yeah.
um, and here in California, I mean, it'll get you by. It definitely will get you by, and especially if you're working maybe a part time or working even full time. If your school schedule allows it, you're making out pretty well. Uh, but
Right.
the problem is, you see a veteran that goes to school and just milks it. So 36 months they're getting paid their housing, and then which you could use for whatever you want. And then $1,000 a year is broken down into 4 quarters, 250 a quarter, for books,
Hmm. Yep.
and whatever, it's up to you what you use it for, but it's meant for books. Um, and this is all non-taxable. And then on top of that, there's a cap of $20,000 for schools.
Yeah.
One thing that I always tell veterans is, for myself, I went to yellow ribbon school. So when I was doubling up, taking 5 classes. After the first quarter, the GI Bill was gone. I mean, the $28,000 was gone. So the school has to pick up the cost for that
Right.
year on a
Yeah.
yellow ribbon. You know,
Can,
make sure you pay attention to that. Are the schools really helping out veterans? Are they really focusing on how do we get veterans to graduate? Because if not, you're going to be pulling out student loans, and student loans can really hurt you depending on what you're trying to do.
right.
Uh,
Yeah.
if you don't start paying them within 6 months, you start paying interest and all that stuff. And I mean, I don't want to go too much into student loans, but so if you do that way, you got 36 months to use it. Bulk rehab, on the other hand, looks at several things. First of all, are you a disabled veteran? You check
Mhm.
the mark, yes, yes. All right, you're good to go. That's the first mark. Then, is your disability impairing you from doing the job you were doing in the military?
Mhm.
That's the big question. So, can you go back to doing what you were doing in the military, or do you need a certification? Then they'll pay for that. For them to pay for an undergrad, you need to prove that the entry level to a specific position requires an undergrad. The entry level requires a master's.
Okay. Yeah.
The entry level requires a doctorate, right? So entry level for an attorney is a doctorate. It's a Juris Doctorate, right? Entry level for a medical doctor is a MD, right? You have to prove that you're going to be able to pass these classes, that it's not going to be something that's going to impair you later down the line based on your disabilities, that it's something that you can attain. uh, and if you need, this is the unique part about the voc rehab. Voc rehab will cover everything. They will cover the full tuition of whatever you class they approve you to go to, or degree. So you have to have a degree plan and an
Right.
employment plan in place before you start voc rehab. They will pay for a computer if that's what you need. If you're doing photography, I have a couple of buddies that did photography. They'll cover your camera equipment, whatever you need to allow you to be successful while you're being educated.
Yeah.
Here's another one. They'll pay for tutors. If you need a tutor because you just suck at math, or you suck at English,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, they will pay for a tutor. The big thing is that they're helping you along the way to be successful and get employed at an entry level position in whatever field you feel that you can do. uh, when it comes to voc rehab, you have to be prepared, just like we spoke about last time with uh, filing a disability claim.
Right.
You need to be prepared. Walk in there, and you need to know what you're looking for, right? Entry level positions, and you need to have 5 to 10 different jobs from like Monster.com, USAJobs.gov, Indeed, whatever, that specifically have a job, and it's an entry level job that specifically states it requires you to have that undergrad. It
Hmm.
requires you to have that master's degree. It requires you to have that JD, whatever it is. Now, if you have really bad scores, and or your transcripts from before are not that great, they're probably not going to consider you for a JD or medical school. So it's going to be very difficult for you to justify that, right? The big intent is that they want you to be successful. Now,
Right.
here's the kicker: there's 48 months of that, meaning if you use 36 months of your GI Bill already, and now you're looking for an extension on voc rehab, you only have 12 months left.
Wait. Wait. So there's no extension. There's
No,
not like starting over. That's
no,
interesting.
no. Uh, and I found that out the hard way. Um, I used my GI Bill. Now, here's one thing, my suggestion to everybody: try. I'm not saying you should. Try to start on Voc Rehab, because, like I said, they will pay for all the stuff. And if you need to start on GI Bill and transfer to Voc Rehab, uh, later on, I mean, do that. But the big thing is try to start on GI or on voc rehab, because like I said, they'll pay for everything.
Right.
After a year, transfer back to GI Bill, because that GI Bill is good for 36 months or 48 months
Mhm.
max of VA benefits, education benefits. So
Yeah.
if you've already used 12 months of voc rehab, you have till your 48th month to use your GI Bill.
Right.
All right.
It's interesting because when the only reason I found out about vocational rehab was because I was in the wounded transition unit. The time
Mhm.
was a Bravo company in Schofield Barracks, and I was actually placed to work with the director of the VA down in Schofield, not Schofield Barracks, but Tripler Hospital. So the director was there, and he taught me that. He said, "Go ahead and if you're gonna start with your post 9/11, go right immediately go into so apply for the vocational rehab." He said, if you stay in here in Hawaii, then I can definitely help you out, expedite the process. But since in California, that I wouldn't know anyone out there. But that was the only reason why I found out about vocational rehab.
Yeah.
And to this day, there's a lot of veterans that don't know because
Yeah.
they're not taught these things right in the service, or come at least coming out when they ETSing, so
I'll tell you one thing, like a lot of us are not meant for school. You
yeah.
know, uh, I'm meant. I'm pretty good at school, right? Like I've
Mhm.
done several several programs. Uh,
Yeah.
I did my undergrad in 1 year and 3 months, because I was accelerated.
Wow.
Graduated 4.0 using all of my Air Force credits. A lot of it transfer. A lot of electives. I took a crap ton of CLEPs. While you're in service, you
I did
need to
that.
be CLEPing the crap out of math, English, all of those general education stuff.
Right.
If you speak another language, clip that. Take Dante's, whatever you got to do. Just test out of as many things as you can. They
Yeah.
do they do it in every single base that I've ever been to, where they have a testing date. You walk in, all right, I want to take supervision and leadership. I want to take the math. I want to take the English. I want to whatever. Just take it. Prep, prep a little, but take the test. You don't even got to attend a class ever.
Right.
So
I did that just for Spanish.
yeah,
And I should have continued, but yeah, that's sufficient. So you don't have
yeah.
to worry about taking all these like courses as soon as you get out.
I
At least,
I took it for Spanish and got 18 college credit hours, which is equates to almost 2 years of Spanish.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I never even studied for it. I just speak Spanish, right? So that's what I mean. If you speak a language,
Go
other
for it. Yeah.
just go for it. The worst
Hmm.
you can do is get enough to pass. And even if you pass, if you barely pass with a 50, right? Uh, you're getting college credit. You're getting six credit hours right off the bat. So 6 credit hours equates to 2 classes. In some depends where you go, right?
Yeah.
So I got out of the military. I had anything. I didn't have any formal education where I went to college, except a few classes that I took. I took speech and some of the requirements for um
Core
your
requirements.
yeah, for your AA, right,
Okay.
in
Yeah.
in the Air Force. So I went to the school and I say, hey, here's all my college credits. All right, you have 186 units just based on aircraft maintenance and you know all
Wow.
the basic stuff, basic training, because that's a general elective,
Hmm.
all that stuff, right? So it accumulated, and they said, but you have to do 2 years with us. So I did two. I signed up for the 2 years, and I doubled up. As soon as I finished the first, I got straight A's the first one, right? 3 classes. And
Hmm.
the very next semester, I went in and said, I talked to the dean about taking 5. They're like, no. I said, look, here's the catalog. Read the books, find
Right.
out what the policies are, find out how much can you do, maximize it, right? Year and 3 months, I graduated with an undergrad. Then I
Yeah.
went immediately. I was already looking for a master's program to do my MBA, As soon as I was graduated, I was already accepted for an MBA program. So I started class literally the following semester. I had like a 7-day break, I think.
Wow.
Did my MBA, same thing, doubled up. They said you can only take 2 classes at a time,
Yeah.
or 1 class at a time. That was considered full time for them, and I doubled up and finished in a year and some change.
Yeah.
Um, Immediately started law school, finished law school, finishing up my residency, my doctorate at USC. Uh, so it's how much you push, and I also have Lean Six Sigma black belt, certified
Jesus.
Six Sigma black belt.
Yeah.
I'm a PMP certified. And you have to look at what you're doing. Now, there's a method to my madness. Okay, there's a reason that I chose the degrees that I got, and this is very very important for certifications, for degrees, for all that stuff. It's very very important for veterans to not waste their benefits on ridiculous programs because they sound amazing without doing research.
It- Go ahead. I was gonna say, sorry to interrupt, but I was gonna say this. A while back, those years ago, I was looking to get into the bribe because I was getting into the computer engineering field,
Mhm.
and one of this was crazy, right? So the bribe, one of the advisors said to me, "Well, you want to go into this or you want to go into business?" And I was like, "No, I want to go into engineering. Why business?" Oh, I would have thought you wanted to go into business because a lot of veterans are going to the business side of things just because they just want to collect their you know, BAH. And I was like, oh,
That's
that's kind of
that's
stupid.
sad that an advisor said that. That
Yeah.
is
And I was
sad.
like,
And
that
and this is a big thing. Like my undergrad's in business management with a
mhm,
focus in project management, right?
mhm.
Um, I'll tell you the truth. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a cardiothoracic surgeon.
Okay.
It's crazy,
Well,
right? I wanted to be a cardiothoracic surgeon.
like, how do you
Uh,
learn that? Like, how do you know about
so I
specifically?
I I really that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to cut. I wanted to be a surgeon.
Mm,
I grew up in a farm, and I mean, unfortunately, that's what I did with the animals, and now I wanted to
okay.
do it on humans.
Okay.
Um, but after my injury in 2008, my hand shakes a lot,
Yeah.
so I know my capabilities.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And you have to understand that about yourself before you make a decision to invest your GI Bill. Because yeah, like $3,000 that you get here in LA or anywhere in the country, whatever you're gonna get, is gonna be better than what you wouldn't get, right? And
Yeah.
that's great. Think about that money that you get, but you need to be prepared. You need to have a set in stone goal of what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So I know that I can't be a cardiothoracic surgeon ever in my life. I had an appointment on Monday about it, and they're thinking about putting a spacer in my neck to try to control the shaking, but it's not going to go away.
Hmm.
So
I don't know. I'm sorry, bro. I just thought about what's his name from the Avengers? Uh, Doctor. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. You know what I'm talking about? He was a
no,
surgeon, and Jesus, I cannot keep talking. Right,
yeah,
I'm gonna.
yeah. When you remember, you bring it up.
Yeah,
So, um,
Mr.
Doctor
Strange.
Strange,
Doctor Strange. Mr. I said
Doctor
Mr. Strange.
Strange, yeah.
Strange. Yeah, there we go.
So,
Yeah.
so that's not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
As much as I could try, I know that the likelihood of my having a steady hand again is probably going to be gone. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen, right? But what I did remember for myself is that as a kid, I grew up in a family and we had a small business, and I was really good at it. I would convince people to buy things that probably they didn't even need. I could sell ice to an Eskimo, type of person. I was just really good at negotiating,
Right.
and and when I was in the Air Force, I did a lot of negotiations to make sure that service members or my peers got what they deserve, awards and decorations, all that stuff. So I would negotiate all this stuff with
Mm.
high ranking leadership, and I've never had a problem with discussing things with generals and chiefs in the Air Force. Chief Master Sergeant is E9, right?
Yeah.
Army, same thing. Generals are generals, same rank structure,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I didn't have a problem with dealing with that. So when I went into business management
Hmm.
and project management, I knew that was my niche. I was good. I am good at business. I am good at negotiating stuff. That's why I went into business. Business is all around us. We can do business. But
Yeah.
say I was a very timid person that doesn't, I'm not that great at negotiating things. I don't even really care for negotiating anything or
Yeah.
having a type of argument. Why would I go into business? So you
Yeah.
have to think about that. There's one thing that is always available for you. It's called um, ONET,
Yeah.
onet.org. Uh, I encourage every single person that's watching this to go on onet.org, or one. I always said one ton .org or something like that because it like spells together.
Oh yeah.
But uh, always go look at what you're good at. What does your personality make you good at something? You know. Here's
I
an
want.
example.
Oh, go
What's
ahead.
just real quick. Here's an example. I finished my undergrad and I started working for a nonprofit.
Mhm.
And what I was doing is career coaching other veterans. I work specifically for the veterans department. So here walks a veteran, and I'm like, "Hey, what brings you in?" Well, I'm trying to find a job, can't find a job. I just need more education. You know, uh, and I'll talk about how to get free certificates here in a bit. But
Yeah. Cool.
the I asked the veteran, so what education do you have? So we can start putting together, your experience, your resume, and start trying to put a picture together for an employer.
Right.
Um, well, all I need is more education. I need another cert. Oh, okay, but I need to see what you have now. So he has a data entry certification. He has an HVAC certification. He had a medical billing certification. He
Jesus.
had uh, some other mechanical something certification. None of these things. Just let me tell you, none of these things apply to each other at all.
Mm. Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
Your medical data entry or medical, filing certification doesn't, and your HVAC certification just don't. So we got to pick what certifications we put on a resume based on what you're trying to find, right?
Yeah. And Taylor,
So I
yeah.
asked him, do you have any GI Bill left? He said no. And I said, well, how do you not have, excuse me, any GI Bill left? And he said, well, I got all these certifications. So he wasted this golden ticket called the post 9/11 GI Bill
Yeah.
on all these certifications on these trade schools. And there's nothing wrong with trade schools if you're good at it. But he wasted 36 months and all of that money on these certifications. He, you know what he was in there for? He wanted a security guard card. That's what he
Oh
wanted.
Jesus.
So it's like, where are you trying to go? Like, how about we try to get you a job so you can grow within that job with one of these certifications? Because
Wait.
at this point, it's like you're just getting certifications for no reason. You know?
If he had a HVAC certification, I'm pretty sure that he could have found a job. It probably was not in the mindset of that, of finding a job. It was just more of milking whatever he had so he can get by. And that's one of the biggest problems that when I got out of the military, I had my mindset, which was going into one of the STEM fields, right?
Yeah.
Mathematics. Originally
Hmm.
was applied mathematics. I didn't continue just because there was a lot of issues going on with family and my folks taking care of my parents as well. So I said I got to get a degree, and I got into that mode, and I really kind of deviated myself in that route where I wanted to go. But the thing is that what I've learned was that a lot of veterans, talking to other veterans, right, going to college, is that
Hmm.
they have the mindset is like immediately when you get out is that I need to survive. I need
Yep.
financially. I need money to survive in this new world that I'm in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they immediately know that they immediately take action on the post 9/11. So they're gonna go choose any career that they feel like they think they'll like.
Yeah.
And I think that's the wrong problem. And a lot of it has to do with the mentality that the upbringing, right? So like if you're in high school, a lot of people will say, go to college, because if you don't go to college, you're not gonna have the right, you're not gonna have a great career, you're not gonna have enough money, you're gonna struggle. But there's a lot of trades. Like honestly, if I
Yeah.
would have known well, I would have went into electrician because I love working on things. Like I'm a hands-on person. I love electricity. I understand it really well. And I would have went on that route, and I
Yeah.
know a lot of guys that like start their own companies and start making
Mm-hmm.
just minimum like six figures with doing that
Yeah.
stuff, right? And so there's so much opportunity, but no one teaching these things. And then so veterans going into this mode of like, well, I have this cushioning for now, and I got to figure it out in the next 3 years. What else can I do in order for me to get this continual money? And it's just is a pattern that doesn't end. And then it's just like, and they just say, hey, I did it this way, and they start passing out that kind of misinformation to other veterans.
Yeah.
And then that's why there's a contribution to why veterans lose their identity
Yeah.
through the entire transition. um
The
you know
and that's the thing that and I am not ragging it at all on the trades, because I know veterans right now that are making $150 an hour,
yeah.
you
Oh
know,
yeah.
as a crane operator or as a, operating heavy machinery.
Yeah.
If you are capable of doing that stuff and you are good at that stuff, then shoot for it.
Yeah.
I encourage it, because you can use your GI Bill, you know, for to get the certification that you need, and then do that job, and then give the rest of your GI Bill to one of your family members,
Yeah.
preferably one of your kids, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I encourage that. I 100%. The thing is that, like me and you that have these disabilities, I know I can't be bent over tying electrical wires. And
Mm.
I'm good at it too. I mean, I could build you a house from scratch. I was a project manager in construction for a while, and I'm really savvy like you are, but I can't do that stuff. So I have to find
Yeah.
something that is adapting to what I know or what I'm good at, and it's not going to affect me in the long term based on my disabilities. So you really have to know yourself before making a decision and just jumping into, I'm going to use my GI Bill. I don't know. I'm going to get, and we laugh at these kids right now that have $100,000 of school debt, right? And they have a language arts degree,
Yeah.
right? Who needs a language arts student? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
The other website that I encourage people to look at is the Bureau of
Oh,
Labor.
oh, they were okay.
Yeah, the Bureau of Labor .gov. I really don't know what the website. I probably should have look at this stuff, but it tells you what jobs are in high demand.
Yeah.
It tells you what degree you need for that job to
it's
be
called
entry level.
it's called the DOL handbook. I was
That's
actually.
another one. That's
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
That's the Department of Labor, LMI, right? Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking about?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's
The
the one. But
labor market index.
yeah, and it tells
That's
you like
another one.
what careers are emerging, what careers are the most paid, and it just tells you everything there, right? You use those
Yeah.
statistics.
And it tells you, the average pay of somebody with this degree doing that job, and,
Yeah.
and that's so if there's many resources out there for you to figure this out,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Um, one of
And
the what's that?
I was gonna say, I think that so when I was in the wounded transition unit, I actually took an exam. I don't remember who. I think it was like through OT,
Hmm.
occupation therapy, and they had me take the exam. I think it was them that where I needed to figure it out. It's like the Brig Myers, right?
Hmm.
To get to know more about yourself, and there were some
Yep.
other things that it would tells me like what was I good at, and it came out to that I'm really good at analytical engineering stuff, building things.
Yep.
And I think that it's needed for veterans to take that those
The
exams
career
to
assessment. Yeah.
assessment, so they can know exactly what they get into, because you don't want to waste your money, or your would you say the golden ticket into something that is not going to help you in the future.
And it doesn't tell, when people are scared of these evaluations, it doesn't tell you like you can only be a janitor, It doesn't say that.
Yeah.
What it tells you is based on your personality, these
Mhm.
are trades that would match to you, and they'll talk about trades. They'll talk about all the way down from the janitor or the data entry guy all the way up to if you have a doctorate,
Yeah.
where would it fit? What type of doctorate would fit you?
Yeah.
So don't be scared of taking this and actually consider what it says. I'm not saying go by it verbatim, with anything. I mean, everybody's different, but
It's,
definitely consider something along the lines of what it's telling you.
it's a guideline. It's
Yeah.
like kind of giving you, like, look, based on a feedback that you provided, this is what you can do. But obviously you can make changes, so, but
Yeah.
I think that's something that it helps a lot,
Yeah.
taking those assessments.
So with all that, let's move on to certifications.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Certifications are your guarantee stamp. That's what I call them.
Mhm.
Okay. So I have an MBA, right? So I know how to do business. But am I really good at process improvement? Am I good at operations? Am I good at project management? Am I
Mhm.
good at uh, mathematics? Am I
Yeah.
good with Excel? You know, so to put that stamp sealed on a specific niche that somebody might be looking for,
Mhm.
that's where you would seek that certification. That's the stamp saying he is good at doing or knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to this specific topic.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, that's what a certification does. Now, I recommend that you don't use your GI Bill on certifications. Even though I said that earlier, you can use it, right? But don't try not to, especially if you're going to school to get a degree. If you want a certification, all you have to do is go to an American Job Center. Okay, they're all over the United States, and each one is ran by a different nonprofit,
Mhm.
but they all do the exact same thing. As a veteran, there is a specific department in each one of them that focuses on veterans themselves. All right, certifications are it are or are paid for these individuals, but here's the big thing: they're not going to pay you the stipend. They're not going to pay you $3,000 a month to go get a certification.
Yeah.
What they're going to do is pay for the certification, and certifications can be very expensive. PMP is $450 to go test the first time, 250 to retake. And average people don't pass on the first try, and then also boot camps for those programs are about 2,000 all the way to 7,000.
Jesus. Yeah.
So for me, I'll tell you what, American Job Center paid for my uh, certified black belt Six Sigma, right? Or
Mhm.
Six Sigma black belt, and my Lean Six Sigma and my PMP boot camp. So that all I had to do is just submit my project for the Six Sigma,
Mhm.
right? So I went green, yellow, black, all in one shot, and I did my PMP boot camp in the same program. They paid about $7,000 for this program.
Wow.
You see what I mean? But you have to prove that you can complete it first of all, and that it's a need. Now, here's the entrapment that there is in those organizations. Okay, and pay very close attention to this. Do not sign any documents or enroll into any of their programs without knowing how much funding they have available. Each one is a different nonprofit, and each one has a different grant that was given to them by the
Mm.
federal government, state government, or and sometimes private donors that specifically outlines how much they can give a specific veterans.
Hmm.
I've seen some in Los Angeles that can only give $2,500 of certification. That's their cap. So you can get one certification for 2,500. I've seen another one that only had $500 per
Wow.
veteran,
Yeah.
and I've seen another one in West LA that had almost $10,000 per veteran. All right.
Wow. Yeah.
Don't sign anything till you know this stuff, because if you sign that document enrolling with them, they'll try to get, oh yeah, just fill out all the paperwork and we'll talk about. No, I want to know how much is available. Once you sign that document, you are not released for a year uh, from that specific job center after you are employed. Meaning, if you walk out of there, you know what, you don't have enough money, I don't want to enroll with you, and you go somewhere else, you're bound to that job center. So you can't go to somebody else because they can't enroll you in another place because you're already enrolled in that place.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Goodwill, as much as I love them and love some of the guys that work over there because I'm really good friends with, they are notorious for locking in veterans like that. And they do have decent money at Goodwill,
Yeah.
but they don't have the $7,000 per veteran to get you certified. So
Huh.
that's the big thing that you have to pay it to. You have to do your research. You can't just go and expect somebody to pay $7,000 for you, and then you show up and they don't even have the money. It's kind of like going and asking for money from somebody that doesn't have money, right? So you're not going to get any money. You're not going to get anything from them.
So
Um,
you can go in there and ask like, what is the cap, right? Like, what's the per
what's your
bet?
cap? I want to know what your cap is because I've already gone through here in California. You got to go through IT Cal, and you got to go through, and it's got that training has to be in the California EDD training. If
Okay.
you go on their website, it has to be in there, right? So you look at this stuff. All right, so there's a class for truck driving. You know, there's a class for Six Sigma. There's a class, and they tell you how much does that the school's going to charge, right? So it's a
Yeah.
private school that is being paid by the state, and then go into one of these job centers and say, hey, look, I'm trying to go to this class, can you pay for it? They say no. You don't waste your time, right? Just move
Yeah.
on. Now these agencies have nothing to do with unemployment. You need to file unemployment before you
I
can file
I
for these certifications, right?
Yeah.
You have to be unemployed to get these certifications. So if you're transitioning through the military, remember, you have 2 years of unemployment post service that you can use. All
Hmm.
right. And
Yeah.
that's paid based on the service that you completed and the taxes you were paying for unemployment insurance. All right.
Because we have the
Uh,
credits.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you have 2 years to complete this stuff, right? I wouldn't suggest you stay on that stuff, but if you need it, use it, right? It's available to you. This is a resource that a lot of veterans don't know that is available to them.
Mhm.
It- Here's the last one, the last topic I want to talk about, and then we can freestyle.
All right. Cool.
I'm 100%,
Yeah.
right? If you are 100%, for about 6 years now, little longer than that, it's been where if you're 100% total and permanent, you can get your student loans waived. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the kicker: if you're not done with school, don't get them waived. What happened with this administration with President Trump is he enacted the rule that the lenders, Nelnet, whoever you use, Stanford loans or whatever they're called, right? That they
Yeah.
give you the loan. They have to give you the waiver as soon as they know that you have 100%, right? So they'll send you a letter saying, "We notice you're 100%. We're gonna waive it.
Hmm.
Please let us know if you're still going to school or whatever." So you just give them a call, have them send you a letter, because this happened to me, saying, "We received your call, yada yada yada. At this time, you don't want to waive your loans." Okay. For me, right in the middle of my doctorate, they decided, boom, cut me off,
Holy.
and all of a sudden, I need a doctor's note to say that I still want to go to school. Once you get that waiver and they remove all your student loans, you can't go you can't go back. The thing that saved me is that I was able to say, because after you get that medical note or whatever saying that you still can go to school and all this stuff, uh, they won't. They're not waiving it again. You're not getting your loans waived again. That's it. It's a one time deal. So what saved me is that I had the call, and I remember, and I told them, hey, you need to do your research, because I called you and I specifically said that I didn't want my loans waived at this time, right? Um, so they retroacted all the loans back in, and then they put in a note in there that I wasn't ready to get my waive. Uh, as soon as I'm done with school, though, hopefully here soon I'm done with residency, and I don't know if I'm going to be going back to school or not. Um, I
Give me
will call them up and say, hey, I'm ready for you to waive my loans, and they're gone. You don't
yeah,
have no student debt, so don't be tied up. I mean, if you have all disabilities and all that stuff, shoot for the sky. Just shoot
yeah,
for the sky. Try to take advantage of the fact that you have a ticket that many other people wish they had.
yeah,
You have a lot of people right now fighting to get their student debt removed and all this stuff. Some
yeah.
of us took some injuries that really messes up, and you should take advantage of all the entitlements that you have, available to you. So
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people like in the civilian side, they want to work for nonprofits because they have so many loans. There's a guy that well, this is back in the days when I was going to getting my associates. I started at a gym, and one of my clients, I remember he was telling me, was like, I heard that, do you know anything about, like, waiving student loans for those that work in nonprofits? And I didn't know at that time. I was like, I have no idea. This guy was like in a, I don't know, like an $190,000 in debt, civilian, right? And
yeah,
he was finishing his PhD or something. And he was working. I don't remember who he was working for, but all I know that he wasn't getting paid. He was getting paid at six figures, but he said it was not enough. And so
no,
that
it's not.
it's, especially living in California, Los Angeles County, so, and then able to, needing to pay that six figure, fucking loan. That's a huge thing, So vets, take advantage. You have to be strategic about it. Don't go out there and then start, getting into some sort of a career or post or a certificate program just because you want to utilize your get BAH, because at the end of the day it is about getting your BAH. And
Yeah.
I understand that you want to survive, but you want to be strategic about it, because when you become strategic you could be able to take full advantage, and as soon as you graduate you can start getting a
Paid
job that is going to pay
and
you
paid and
pay
paid.
well.
And the big thing is getting paid and not having to, like you said,
Yeah,
this individual that had 190 something thousand
yeah.
of student loans. You don't want to be paying loans. You don't want
No,
to be paying student loans, and these, unless you're paying more than the minimum, you probably be paying these, 198,000 for 20 years. Um, if you know, the most expensive degree program is the dentistry, right? It's like a
I
half a
don't know.
million dollar. It's like a $500,000. That's why suicidal rate for dentists is the highest. I don't know if
Oh,
you.
I
I
know. I
think
didn't know that.
they made fun of it on like the Ninth Mile or something with the what's his name, that movie with Bruce Willis, where
Uh,
he's like the
oh,
the mafia guy.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's something with the mile.
9 yard,
Oh, yeah,
9 mile, 9 mile. I don't remember, but
whole nine
they were
yards.
talking about, yeah, that dentists are like have the highest suicide rate, and it's because of that, because they can't make ends meet.
Yeah,
Dentistry is expensive, but you got to have a clientele as well.
that's a tough
Um,
one. Yeah, yeah, because it's trying to find it. That's a. I'm gonna talk on the business side of things, and this is a freestyling, right? So,
yeah,
um, if you're looking to become a PA or a doctor, you want to go and start your own clinic. First of all, you have to understand this. If you
listen,
go by yourself, you got to understand business. Yeah, you do.
yeah,
Understand like where you're gonna open your clinic, um, knowing how to market, and
yeah,
if you're gonna get, in California, we have Medi-Cal. Just know that Medi-Cal is very cheap paying. They're very cheap. when it comes to
No, and
paying.
it's not only that. They want, a tooth and nail of evidence that you
Yeah,
performed a specific task. So for you to get paid, you better take hell of notes and have some very good accountants to collect,
yeah,
what's funny is that a lot of these programs now, like Juris Doctorates and MDs, a lot of schools now have a MD slash MBA
yeah,
program where you complete an MBA with your MD to allow the person to have that executive leadership,
yeah.
to open their own clinic if they wanted to, or becoming a director of a hospital eventually, right?
Right. Yeah,
Um, Same thing with JD. It's a lot of lawyers go out there and they can't make ends meet. They can't have their own practice or have their own firm because they don't have the business skill. As a matter of fact, when I was in law school, my instructor was talking about this, how he didn't know how to collect because
hmm,
he was a social work type, working on pro bono, but
yeah,
he couldn't pay his paralegal because he didn't know how to collect. So,
yeah,
he had to fire his paralegal and now he's doing paralegal work and his attorney work and he can't keep up because he doesn't know how to run a business,
yeah.
so
I do want to say that if you are looking to run a business as a MD or a JD, holla at us. We'll definitely help you in the business side of things.
yeah.
But definitely, we'll do the market analysis and we'll put everything together.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so that's something, and just keep in mind, and also when you're gonna go into a career, make sure that that career is booming.
Yeah.
Look, and I'm not saying this is just do it for the money, do it work because a lot of people just say do it because you're
Good for
passionate
stability
about it
for
for
your
stability.
family
Yeah,
stability.
yeah,
Yeah. You don't want to go into a job that everybody's already doing. I mean, you want to be somewhere where your job security is high, where the probability of you being fired is very slim to none, because at the end of the day it's about taking care of you and your family, so
yeah,
um and that's the bottom line. I mean, nobody, we want to help everybody, right? Like me and you have been working with veterans for a while now, a couple years, or several few years,
yeah,
and but at the end of the day, I still got to feed my family. I
yeah,
still got to keep the lights turned on, so we
yeah.
can have these podcasts and talk to
Of
all the
course.
veterans about all this stuff. You want to put yourself in a place where you're able to help yourself and don't mind helping others, because if you're taking care of yourself, it's easier for me to go out and give more time, more funding, more whatever I need to help out. I have more of it if I'm stable myself. So
Right.
you
And
remember that.
and once you I think I'm for next show or sometime in the future we can talk about finances, like personal finances, because that's something I want to talk about. Because now that you have a career, you're making bank.
Mhm.
Don't be that one private that ends up buying a freaking car. You
I'm
know.
buying the yacht. I'm buying the yacht. You
Oh
know
yeah.
that.
You know what, dude? You actually put a lot of work into it. But don't
Yeah,
immediately go put yourself in debt
yeah,
on toys that devalues as soon as you take it off the shop, or the
yeah,
dealership.
yeah.
So but as I'm
It's
saying, but eventually that's what I want to do. I want to talk about that, finances, and so everyone has a clear understanding.
yeah, it's huge. It's finances are a big part, of
Right.
what can make or break you.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said earlier, when we first started this show, you see, you have veterans that never had to pay for all the insurance, all, or even thought about,
Yeah.
life insurance, because in the
Yeah.
military we're automatically signed up for life insurance, right?
Yeah.
So we don't really think about that stuff. So yeah, definitely budget and finance is gonna be a good topic to
Yeah,
talk about.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited about it. Cool,
yeah,
man. I think we are about to it's been an hour now. Yeah, it's 7:59. So thank you so much, man, for actually, following, helping us with TentHut. I know you're a board member and I know you have very busy, but Thank you. I appreciate for all the knowledge. And for you guys
Anytime.
that for you guys that have been watching us, please subscribe to our Tent Hut YouTube channel. We're trying to make it grow because we have a lot of things in place that we want to do with this nonprofit. And thank you so much for those who have been supporting us, and thank you for so much for those who have been subscribing to our channel. And share this, and again, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, every Thursday. All right, guys. Until next time. Thank you. Peace.